They used to laugh at him when he walked barefoot to school, carrying torn books in a plastic bag. But one day that same boy would teach the whole village what true wealth really means. This is not just a story about poverty. It is a story about mindset, discipline, and silent determination that changes destiny. If you have ever felt small, ignored, or underestimated, stay with me because this story might change the way you see your own life. And before we begin, if stories like this inspire you to grow, make sure you like this video and subscribe to MindShift Dailies because every week we share powerful stories that can shift your thinking and transform your future. In a small village near Multan, surrounded by dusty fields and narrow mud roads, lived a boy named Arav. His father worked as a daily wage laborer on farms owned by wealthy landlords. His mother stitched clothes for neighbors, earn a few extra rupees. Their house was made of clay bricks, and during the rainy season, water would drip from the roof into metal pots placed carefully on the floor. Arav was the eldest of 3 siblings, and from a young age, he understood that life would not be easy. Every morning before sunrise, he helped his father carry tools to the fields. After a few hours of work, he would rush back home, wash his face at the hand pump, and walk 3 kilometers to the government school. His uniform was faded, and his shoes had holes, but his eyes carried something different. They carried curiosity. While other boys complained about the heat, Arav listened carefully in class as if every word was a treasure. One afternoon, a rich businessman from the nearby city visited the village to inspect his land. He arrived in a shiny car that gathered a crowd of curious villagers. Arav watched quietly from a distance. Instead of feeling jealous, he felt inspired. That evening he asked his teacher, "Sir, how does a man become that successful?" The teacher smiled and replied, "He changes his thinking before he changes his income." Those words stayed in Arav's mind like a seed planted in fertile soil. From that day, he stopped saying, "We are poor." Instead, he started saying, "We are learning." While other children played cricket after school, Arav spent 1 hour reading borrowed books under a dim lantern. He read about entrepreneurs, inventors, and leaders who came from nothing. He began to understand that money was not the first step. Mindset was. The villagers often mocked him. They would say, "Books will not fill your stomach." Some relatives advised his father to pull him out of school and send him to the city for labor work. But his father, though uneducated, saw a fire in his son's eyes and decided to trust him. That trust became Arav's greatest motivation. At the age of 14, Arav started tutoring younger children in the village for a small fee. He saved every coin in an old metal box. Instead of buying snacks or new clothes, he bought secondhand books from the city market. He also learned basic English by listening to radio programs late at night. His pronunciation was not perfect, but his effort was powerful. One day, the school announced a district-level scholarship exam. The top 3 students would receive full financial support for higher education in the city. Arav knew this was his chance. For 3 months, he studied with intense focus. He created a timetable and followed it strictly. Even during family weddings or village festivals, he would excuse himself early to revise his notes. On the day of the exam, he traveled by bus for the first time in his life. The city looked overwhelming with tall buildings and busy roads. Many students came from private schools wearing clean uniforms and speaking fluent English. For a moment, doubt entered his mind. But then he remembered his teacher's words about mindset. He closed his eyes and told himself, "I may come from a small village, but my dreams are not small." Weeks later, the results were announced. Arav secured second position in the entire district. The whole village was shocked. The same people who once laughed at him now congratulated his family. His father's eyes filled with tears of pride. That day, Arav realized that success is the loudest answer to doubt. Moving to the city was not easy. He lived in a small hostel room with 3 other boys. The food was simple, and the environment was competitive. Many students had access to expensive coaching centers and laptops. Arav had only a basic phone and determination. Instead of complaining, he used the public library every evening. He watched free educational videos and improved his skills step by step. During college, he noticed that farmers in his village struggled to sell their crops at fair prices because they depended on middlemen. An idea started forming in his mind. What if there was a simple way for farmers to connect directly with buyers in the city? He did not have money to build a big company, but he had knowledge and courage. In his final year, he partnered with a classmate who knew basic programming. Together, they created a simple mobile platform that connected local farmers to urban shops. At first, only 5 farmers joined. Arav personally traveled back to his village to explain how it worked. Many were hesitant, but a few trusted him. The first successful sale happened within a week. A vegetable shop in the city bought directly from a farmer in Arav's village at a better price than usual. Slowly, more farmers joined. Word spread to neighboring villages. The small idea began to grow. After graduation, instead of searching for a secure job, Arav decided to work full-time on expanding the platform. It was risky. There were months when he earned almost nothing. Relatives again criticized his decision. But he believed that real growth requires patience. 3 years later, his platform was operating in multiple districts. Hundreds of farmers were earning better incomes. Arav hired young graduates from rural backgrounds and trained them. He returned to his village, not as a laborer's son, but as a respected entrepreneur. He built a small learning center there with computers and internet access for village children. He often told them, "Do not let your surroundings decide your future. Let your mindset decide it." His story was featured in local newspapers, and he was invited to speak at schools and colleges. Yet, despite his success, Arav remained humble. He still visited his old teacher whenever he went back home. One evening, sitting under the same banyan tree where he once studied, he thanked his teacher for changing his thinking. The teacher smiled and said, "You changed it yourself. I only reminded you." What made Arav different was not luck. It was not connections. It was not inherited wealth. It was the decision to think bigger than his circumstances. While others focused on what they lacked, he focused on what he could build. While others waited for opportunity, he prepared for it. Many young people from villages across Pakistan and India started following his journey through interviews and social media clips shared by MindShift tailies. His message was simple but powerful. Poverty is a temporary condition, but a poor mindset can become permanent if you allow it. If you are still watching, think about your own life right now. Are you focusing more on problems or possibilities? Arav's journey teaches us that growth begins in the mind long before it appears in the bank account. The road was long, the nights were hard, and the doubts were real. But he never allowed his environment to control his vision. Today, when people ask him the secret of his success, he says, "I stopped calling myself poor." And that small shift in language changed everything. He understood that being born in a poor family was not his choice, but remaining limited in thinking would have been his decision. As this story comes to an end, remember that somewhere in a small village, another boy or girl might be walking barefoot to school with a powerful dream in their heart. Maybe that person is you. Maybe your situation is not perfect. Maybe resources are limited, but your mindset is always within your control. If this story inspired you even a little, write in the comments. Rich Mindset starts today. Share this video with someone who needs hope and direction. And do not forget to like and subscribe to MindShift Dailies for more powerful stories that can transform the way you think and live. Your journey to growth might begin with a single decision, just like Aras did. On a quiet evening in a small village where a poor boy decided to think rich.